Mark Gibson's Human Rights Channel. Accountant with designations CPA, MBA, CMA, ACPA, ASA, Australia. Enjoy learning!
Go through the different sample problems that I have prepared in relation to the capital budgeting topic, no? So let's go first through the cost of capital. So remember class, last meeting I've discussed with you the three elements that we should be analyzing in a capital budgeting uh, lesson, no? So number one, of course, the cost of capital. Number two is the net investment, and thirdly is your return, no? So later on, I'll be also discussing about the net investment and returns, no? So now let's focus first on the computation of cost of capital. So last meeting we've discussed about the cost of capital. So say if it's through debts, the source will be the creditors, and cost of capital in this lesson is expressed as K, no? So K, that's the cost of capital, is equals to return. R is return. No? Paano nangyari yung class? Remember, two sides of the coin, no? So, kung nagpautang ka, definitely meron kang return. Pero dun sa nangutang, you call it as cost of capital. So in this case, we're analyzing cost of capital. Ito yung sa point of view ng nangutang, no? So, so like I said, for creditor, it's a debt. For preferred and common stock, it is your dividend, no? So let's go through each type of cost of capital. First, let's have cost of debt. O, class ha, pag tinanong mo how much is the cost of debt, this is the formula. K, remember, that's the cost, no? D. So let's express debt as D, no? So KD, that's the cost of debt, is equals to I, that's your yield to maturity, multiplied by 1 minus the tax rate. Plus, kaya sabi ko sa inyo last meeting, you have to memorize the formula so that what we're going to do right now is just to derive the numbers or the given information from in the problem to the formula, no? But let's first let's just derive it, no? So what's the interest? The interest is 12%, so that's yield to maturity of 12%. So Mark Incorporated's currently outstanding 10% coupon bonds have a yield to maturity of 12%. Mark believes it could issue new bonds at par that would provide a similar yield to maturity. If the income tax rate is 30%, what is Mark's income incorporated's after tax cost of debt, no? So tinanong dito class, what is the after tax cost of debt, no? So given plus yung income tax rate. So therefore, wag mo nang ipilit si create bill, ha? Sabihin mo, sir, may bago na create bill. So dapat yan 20%. So plus in management accounting and cost accounting problems, especially especially in the board exams, all you have to do is deal with the problem as it is, no? Remember, this is not your financial accounting, no? So in management accounting, there is no GAAP. So kung ano yung binigay ni problem, yun yung susundin natin. So in this case, let's just derive the information to the formula. So your yield to maturity is 12% multiplied by 70%. Paano naging 70 class? 1 minus the tax rate. So the cost of debt in this example, in this problem, is 8.4%. So, ganun lang siya kadali class provided memorize mo yung formula. Kaya sabi ko sa inyo last time, you have to memorize the formula so that during my discussion, all I have to do is well, explain to you what's happening in the formula, and also para mas focus tayo dun sa problem itself, no. I also provided you a copy of the problem so that you can focus on the discussion, and just bring out the copy of the problems with you, no. So class, ito pa, para lang mas mabilis intindihan, bakit ba less tax rate, no? Kasi class, remember, if this is really, uh, ang imaginein mo is yung income statement mo, 'di ba? Dahil nagbabayad ka ng debt, or so sabihin natin in this case, yung interest on loans, no? That essentially will decrease your taxable income. That's why we're calculating it net of tax, no? So napansin nyo, less the tax rate, 1 minus the tax rate. So ang assumption is yung payment yung payment mo to creditors essentially will decrease, kasi 'di ba expense mo 'yan, will decrease your taxable income. So yun lang, para hindi mahirapan i-memorize yung formula. It's yield to maturity multiplied by 1 minus the tax rate. Sige. So another example of cost of debt. Ito naman, so let me read the problem first. Alvin Enterprises has a series of 9% coupon bonds outstanding with a 1,000 par value. The bonds mature in 10 years and currently sell for 952 pesos. If new bonds are issued, the issuance cost is expected to be 12 pesos per bond. So itong issuance cost class, this is also sometimes referred to as flotation cost, no? So wag malilito, parehas lang yun. Alvin's marginal tax rate is 30%. What is the marginal after-tax cost of debt for Alvin Enterprises? Assume annual interest payments. Ito naman, class, in this problem, hindi binigay kung hindi provided yung yield to maturity. Tandaan, yield to maturity or book yield or redemption yield, pare-parehas lang yan, no? So, it's being used synonymously in different problems, so wag kang malilito. So, what's the formula pala to get yield to maturity? Kasi kung napansin mo, in the previous problem, yield to maturity is given, no? Sabi dito, Mark Incorporated have a yield to maturity of 12%, no? But in the next sample problem, hindi na siya provided. So meron tayong way to calculate. So yield to maturity is equals to interest plus discount amortization or minus premium amortization over proceeds times 60% plus maturity value times 40%, no? So paano na yan? I-derive muna natin. So how much is the net price? Okay, sa natin class, ha? Net price is 952 less 12 is equals to 940. Yung 952, that's the current selling price. Remember that? The 12 is the flotation or the issuance cost, no? So net price is simply stated as the bond price less flotation cost or issuance cost. So that's 940 pesos. So hopefully nakakasunod ka, class, ha? Oops. Okay. So how about in this sample problem, is it a discount or premium? O class, provided na, no? So remember, the par value is 1,000 pesos less the net price of 940. So therefore, there's a discount of 60. Ngayon, pansinin mo, ha, the formula states here that if it's a discount, so you have to add the discount amortization. If it's premium, minus, no? So interest plus discount amortization or minus premium amortization. So hopefully nakakasunod pa. So let's now calculate how much is the interest. Okay. So the interest is just computed or calculated by multiplying 1,000 par value by 9% coupon month. So the interest is 90. Ngayon, let's derive the formula na ulit, no? So interest, nakalculate na natin 90 plus, kasi discount amortization, no? Sabi natin plus 60. Yung 60, that's the discount. Pero kailangan natin dito is not the full discount. Ang kailangan natin is amortization lang, no? So, divided by 10 years. Okay? The proceeds of 940, proceeds is simply your net price. So, net price is your current selling price less the flotation cost, no? So, that's 940 multiplied by 60% plus maturity value plus given naman. So, that's your par value. 1,000 multiplied by 40%. Paki-calculate. Oops. So you should get YTM of 9.96%, no? So that's YTM. Okay? Sige. Pakipindot muna. Okay. But remember, wag ka pang hihinto, no? Kasi usually sa multiple choice questions, especially in my case, what I give you are multiple choice problems, no? Pag nakita mo yun ng 9.96, isa dun sa mga choices na excite ka, yun na yung pinili mo. Pero tandaan, the question is the marginal after tax cost of debt. Itong na-compute mo, it's just the YTM. It's just the yield to maturity. So therefore, kailangan pa natin i-calculate yan. Sige, pakita ko kung paano. So you have your dito na lang ako mag-calculate. So sabi natin KD is equals to your YTM multiplied by 1 minus the tax rate. Na-compute na natin yung YTM, that's 9.95, tama, 9.96, 9.96%. Ngayon, calculate natin yung 1 minus 1 minus so, multiply natin yung dalawa. Total cost of debt would be 6.97%. The answer to problem number 2 is 6.97%. O class, huwag malilito dyan ha. Tandaan, if the problem doesn't provide data on YTM, there's a way to calculate for your YTM. Here's the formula, no, to calculate. Another thing to consider is when you're calculating for the proceeds, it's always net of issuance costs or flotation costs. So, wag malilito. Also, the formula provides if it's a discount plus discount amortization. But if it is a premium, less premium amortization. So, dun sa financial accounting nyo, makikita nyo naman yung difference ng discount and premium. Well, pag premium, yan yung dagdag. Parang ganun lang. Discount, diskwento. So, in this case, par value is 1,000, selling price is 940, or your net price is 940. So, you have a discount of 60, no? So, if say for example, it's being sold at 1,200. So par value is 1,000 less 1,200. There's a 200 premium, no? So in that case, you have to deduct it, no, from your interest to derive your YPM. Okay? So hopefully clear yan. So that's uh, your cost of debt. No? So I have given you two examples para at least hindi malilito. No? So you see a lot of bond, no? Bond investment in your financial accounting subject. Okay, so let's now move to cost of preferred stock. Class, review lang muna natin yung financial accounting nyo siguro. Ano nga ba yung preferred stock? What's the difference between a preferred stock and common stock? Ito lang naman, simple lang yan class. No? So preferred, kaya preferred kasi may preference. No? Sila yung mga inuuna. Sila yung ah, may preferential benefit over the common stock. No? So in this case, so for example, a company has preferred and common stocks. Normally, they pay preferred stock uh, with a dividend. No, it's stated already. So common stock, ito naman usually yung after paying your preferred stock, the rest will be, well, depending on the declaration, no, the rest of the dividends will go to your common stock. Okay, so let's now calculate cost of preferred stock. No, so again, cost is K. Syempre P is for the, just to indicate preferred stock. No, so the formula is dividend per share divided by net P. Ano yung zero? So net price now. So class ha, yung zero doon, meaning this is the net proceed today or right now. So pag sinabing P sub zero, ulitin ko, this is the price today or price now. What if it's price sub 1? Meaning it's the price next year. P sub 2, meaning it's the price in the next 2 years. No? Basta P sub 0, this is the price, net price or net proceed right now. Okay? Sige, sana clear yan. So let's now derive the formula. No? So let me read the problem first. Chad Corporation plans to issue some 80 pesos per preferred stock with a 7% dividend. A similar stock is selling on the market for 85 pesos. Winner must pay flotation cost of 3% of the issue price. The income tax rate is 30%. What is the cost of preferred stock? Ito, isa-isay natin. Sabi dyan, the formula is KP is equals to dividend per share over net proceed sub zero. So meaning it's the proceed today or the proceeds right now. Sabi dyan, calculate mo natin how much is the dividend per share. So 80 multiplied by 7% dividend. So 80 times 7%. Ito ngayon yung pag-usapan natin. Di ba sabi, net price right now. So, saan nakuha yung 85? Currently, a similar stock is selling on the market for 85 pesos. Di ba sabi natin pag net, should be net of flotation cost or issuance cost. So, in this case, 85 multiplied by 97%. Paano nangyari yan? O sige, ano natin na para lang mas klaro. Alisin ko na to. Iyan natin. KP is equals to dividend per share over your net price. Natin yung dividend per share. Sabi natin 80. So magkano yung dividend? Ayun, 7%. So 80, sabi na yun, naka-formula, 80 multiplied by 7%. Yan, huwag malilito ha. Ngayon yung net price, sabi natin kanina sa earlier discussion, net price, it's your proceeds, no? So, it's the current selling price, kasi sabi natin, sub-zero, less flotation cost. So, 85, magkano ang flotation cost? So, 85, sabi ang flotation cost is 3%, no? So, it's either gawin mo ito, multiply mo by 3%, so 85 less 255, 82.45. Or another way is 85, multiply mo by 97%, so similar, parehas din naman ang lalabas, no? 82.45%. So, kung saan ka mas mabilis, dun ka, no? So, therefore, how much is your cost of preferred stock? So, that's 6.79%. Okay? O, baka may magtatanong, Sir, bakit hindi natin ni-net of tax? O, sige, balikan natin yung yung basic accounting nyo. Plus, pag ba nagbabayad tayo ng dividends, pumapasok ba ito dun sa income statement mo as expense? So, the answer is hindi. So, therefore, the data on income tax rate here is not relevant sa calculation natin, no? So, wag malilito. For cost of preferred stock, you don't need to take into account the tax rate, no? So, okay. So, I think this is pretty much straightforward. So, let's move on to the next. I guess, ang kailangan niyo lang gawin is practice more on problems, no? So that you'll be more familiar with the formula. So like I said earlier and also last week, just memorize the formula so that you can just derive it, no, from the given data. Okay? So let's now proceed with cost of common stock and retained earnings. Okay? Ito muna siguro yung pag-usapan natin, class, no? Uh, Una, syempre, alam natin na pag common stock, really what we're talking here is the dividend, no? Pero bakit meron ding cost of retained earnings? So essentially, retained earnings, yan yung, well, alam mo naman, di ba? Basic accounting. Ito yung na-retained na earnings that we retain for the purpose of, well, uh, essentially to pay dividends, no? Pero dahil hindi natin yan ginamit to pay dividends, dun pa lang meron ng cost of capital, no? Instead of paying it to our common shareholders, ginawa natin is we keep it for expansion purposes. So in that case, instead of borrowing funds from outside creditors, what we did is we appropriate or we uh, kept a portion of our retained earnings to finance capital budgeting or capital projects or huge projects, no? So, okay. So, ngayon, dito sa cost of common stock and retained earnings, we have two approach, no? Number one is DGM or GGM. It's dividend growth model, Gordon growth model, or the dividend yield plus growth model. So, para-parehas lang yan, no? So, we derive it as K. C is your common stock and E is your retained earnings. D1 over net price sub-zero plus G. So kung pansin nyo, parehas lang naman siya ng formula. Pero, ang pansinin natin dito is yung net price sub-zero kanina na-discuss na natin yan. It should be net of flotation cost or issuance cost. D, D sub 1 is your dividend next period. Plus ha, kanina diniscuss natin, ano nga pag P0? It's now, price now. Pag P1 is the price next year or next period. Pag P2, it's the price in 2 years time, no? So, dito naman, papansin natin, D0 is the current dividend payment. So, ibig sabihin, dividend payment now. Pag sinabing D1 is expected to pay dividend, no? So, this is the dividend next period. Eh, paano pag sinabing paid dividends, no? So, ibig sabihin, that's also referring to D0. Ibig sabihin, ito yung bayad na, no? Kasi wala namang D negative 1, no? Wala tayong ganun. So, it's either, pag sinabing D0, it's current or paid o yung past dividends, no? Sige. Like I said, if you have memorized the formula, wala kang maging problem. So all we need to do is derive it, no? So let's have this example, no? Pao Company currently pays a common stock dividend of 5, 5 pesos per share. The common stock price is 50 pesos. Analysts have forecast the earnings and dividends to grow at an average annual rate of 6% for the foreseeable future. The issuance price per share is 2 pesos. So ano ba yung required? What is the cost of retained earnings? So let's just derive the formula. Sabi dito, D sub 1. This is the dividend. Kasi nga sub 1, sabi, is expected to pay dividends. So, ibig sabihin, ito yung expected dividend payment, no? So, next period. So, D sub 1. So, paano natin kakalculate yun? How much is the dividend? 5 pesos. Pero, kano ba yung increase? Sabi, ano na, an average annual rate of 6%. So, ibig sabihin, it projects that the dividend will increase 6% for the foreseeable future. So, therefore, your D sub 1 is 5 times 1.06, no? Para ma-compute natin yung dividend next period or next year. So, class, sana nakakasunod pa, no? Over P0. Sige, pag-usapan natin ulit yung proceeds. Sabi natin, proceeds is what? Your selling price today. So, your selling price is 50. Okay? How much is your G? O, ito naman yung growth, no? So, given naman class, 6%, no? So, your total cost of retained earnings is 16.60. So, that's 5.3 over 50 plus 0.06. So, that's 16.60. Okay? Sige, absorb muna ng konti. Okay, may narinig ako. Ako lang pala mag-isa dito. Pero may narinig akong question. Sir, bakit hindi tinake up yung issuance price? Eh, di ba kung sasabi nyo lang kanina, net price is calculated by the current selling price less flotation cost or issuance cost. O class, this is what we're calculating here is your retained earnings. So therefore, walang issuance cost. Hindi mo naman ini-issue yan, no? So, careful, no? So, if it's retained earnings, you don't need to deduct issuance costs from the selling price, no? Or the stock price. So, hopefully, this is clear enough. Okay? So, let's now move on to the next one. Now, we're now calculating cost of new equity. So, ito yung cost of common stock. No? So, it's the same formula, D1 over net proceeds sub 0 plus G. Okay? So, kanina discuss natin V sub 1. You have your 5 multiply by 1.06. So, para saan ulit yung 1.06? This is dividend next period. So, currently, so meaning right now, it's paying 5 pesos per share of stock dividend. But next year, it is expected that dividend will grow at an average annual rate of 6%. So therefore, next year, how much is your dividend? Dividend is, sabihin natin, di ba 5 ngayon? Sabi mag-increase daw ng 6%, no? So, 6% of 5. So therefore, total, so therefore, next period, next year, your dividend is at 5.3. Okay? Class, ha? Inano ko lang, binalikan ko lang ulit yan para dun sa hindi nakasunod. No? Eto na. Your net price sub-zero. So, net proceeds right now, since we're now calculating cost of common stock, you then need to take into account the issuance price. So, the issuance price per share is 2. So to arrive at your net proceeds today, so that's 50 less the flotation cost or the issuance price of 2. So you'll get 48 plus the G, your growth, it's given 6%. So total cost of equity is 17.04. Okay? Sige, absorb muna. So, it's the same formula. The only difference between cost of common stock and cost of retained earnings is on the issuance or flotation cost. Okay. Okay, so let's now move on to the next model. No? So earlier I mentioned that we have two models in calculating for your cost of common stock and retained earnings. The one that I just discussed is called DGM or dividend growth model. Sometimes it's called GGM, so Gordon growth model, or dividend yield plus growth model. No? So the next model is called CAPM or the capital asset pricing model. So the formula is R is equals to RF. RF is the risk-free rate determined by government securities plus beta coefficient. B or the beta is equals to beta coefficient of an individual stock, which is the correlation between the volatility or price variation of the stock market and the volatility of the price of the individual stock multiplied by RM. So this is the market return minus RF, the risk-free rate, no? O ito, class, huwag ka masyadong kabahan. Kasi even in real life situation, meron talagang statistician or people really working to calculate the beta coefficient. So this is normally provided in the problem, no? So hindi natin ito problema as accountant, no? There are people designated to do this for us. So all we have to do is apply it through the formula, no? So tandaan itong RM less RF, this is called market risk premium. So for example, in the problem, it what's given is market risk premium. So, hindi mo na kailangan i-calculate pa tong RM minus RF. So, all you need to do is multiply it with the beta coefficient. No? or the amount above risk-free rate required to induce average investors to enter the market. No? So what I'm planning to do next is I'm going to provide you sample problems on capital asset pricing model as an assignment siguro, additional point lang, so that you will be able to derive the formula. So, like I said, let's move on to the next, no? So, let's have this problem. Group has a beta of 0.9. So, sabi ko sa inyo, hindi mo kailangan problemahin yung beta kasi given yan. The current risk-free market is 6%. So, that's your RF. And the market rate is 9%. What is the cost of equity capital? Okay, so let's derive the formula. RF, so your risk-free rate, that's 6%, multiplied by beta of 0. Plus beta of 0.9. Tapos your RM is 9%, less RF of 6%. So 9 minus 6, that's 3% multiplied by 0.9, which is the beta. So total cost of capital, equity capital is 8.7%. Okay? Okay. O, sige, hinga muna ng malalim at medyo marami-rami na yung na-discuss natin. So far, we've discussed about cost of debts. O, plus, hindi pa yung namatay ha. Utang, cost of debts, no? Cost of preferred stocks, and then cost of common stock and retained earnings, no? So that really the key is for you to memorize the formula para at least makasunod kayo. No? So next, ito class, I'll be giving this to you as an assignment. No? So it will be, I think it is posted in Canvas. All you have to do is calculate for the cost of debt, cost of preferred stock, and cost of common stock. So let's skip this for now, and then I'll be discussing this when you have submitted your assignment. No? So gaya ng approach natin last time, the sooner you submit your assignment, check ko siya ng mas maaga, and then kung may mali, pwede ko kayong i-guide. So, pwede yung resubmission, no? Unlike kasi kung magsasubmit ka during I mean on time or during the deadline, wala na ako time uh, to ask you to resubmit, no? So, yun, kung sino yung mas maaga, sila yung nasi-check ko agad, tapos pwede ko sabihan, o mali ka sa cost of preferred stock, so pwede mo siya ibalik sa akin to correct your answer, no? So, wag naman unlimited class, no? So, you have, when I say may mali ka dun sa one of three or two of three questions, pag binalik mo sa akin, yun na yung final, no? Hindi to unlimited na class. Okay. O, sige. So, let's move on to the next. Sige, net investment. Ito class, we've also discussed this last time, but let's discuss this once again. Earlier, I mentioned that there are three elements in capital budgeting. Number one is cost of capital. We just discussed it. Number two is your investment. Ito, we're going to discuss it again. And then third, the return. So we'll discuss it later, you know. So net investment, costs or cash outflows, less cash inflows, or savings incidental to the acquisition of the investment projects. Ano yung mga cost or cash outflows? No? Una, initial cash outlay covering all expenditures on the project up to the time when it is ready for use or operation. Mag-example ako. So, sabihin natin, in a manufacturing plant, kailangan natin bumili ng machine, no? So, cash outlay would be the purchase price of the machine. Tapos kung kailangan pa siyang, alam mo yun, i-ship papunta dun sa sa'yo, sa planta mo. So, that's also part of the cost, no? Plus, if that machine will require, say, sabihin natin na training, kasi syempre, bagong machine, no? Sasabihin natin na, ah, sabihin natin na bagong technology. So, kailangan ng training hours for a person to operate it. So, that will form part of your initial cash outlay, no? Next, working capital requirement to operate a project at the desired level. Ito, pag sinabi kasing working capital, especially in a startup, this is basically the total cost for you to uh, initially operate the business, no? So it could be it could be supplies, it could be salaries and wages of people para lang to get you into position na ano yun, yung ma-ready yung business, no? And then number three, market value of an existing or currently idle asset which will be transferred to or utilized in the operations of the proposed capital investment project. So paano to? So for example, yung machine na pinag-uusapan natin in a manufacturing plant, no? Siyempre, naiisip mong bumili ng bago dahil nakikita mo na hindi na nagpe-perform ng maayos yung luma. In that case, yung luma kasi could be meron pa siyang salvage value or could be pwede mo siyang maibenta pa to other people, no? Other interested parties. So in that case, that market value will form part of your cost or cash outflows. Pag-usapan naman natin yung other element kasi 'di ba, the formula to get your net investment is cost or cash outflows less cash inflows or savings. So pag-usapan natin 'tong susunod, no? Savings or cash inflows. Trade-in value of old asset in case of replacement. Oh, so usually class, nakakarinig tayo ng trade-in sa mga kotse, no? So sabihin natin, meron akong kotse, Honda, 2012, no? I'd like to buy a new one. So instead of looking for somebody else to buy my old car, punta ako dun sa may pinaka ano tawag na doon? Pinaka showroom, no? Punta ako dun, gusto ko ng Fortuner. Sabi ni Toyota ngayon, pwede mo tong i-trade in at this price. So, yun, that will form part of savings or cash inflows, no? So deductible. Okay? Next, proceeds from sale of old asset to be disposed due to the acquisition of new project. Less applicable tax in case there is gain or add tax savings in case there is loss on sale. Ito, explain ko ng dahan-dahan. Ha? Proceeds from sale of old asset. So ito yung syempre meron ka book value, no? Sige, let's from illustration. Alisin ko na ulit to, tapos na ako dyan. Ito na yung pinaka-whiteboard ko, no? Sabihin natin na yung old machine ko, old. Years ago, binili ko siya ng 900,000. 900,000. Siyempre, throughout time, magkakaroon ka ng accumulated depreciation. No? Sabihin natin na 800,000. So therefore, kano lang yung anong tawag dito sa 100,000? That's your book value. Okay ha? Focus ka dito sa old machine. So you have your book value of 100,000 pesos. Ngayon, kung halimbawa there's a willing buyer, sabihin natin na mag-assume lang ulit ako, for the sake of illustration lang, si Judy Ann. Julian likes to buy this, no? Kasi, mo, siguro nilagay mo sa, ano yun ko lang to, para mas mabilis mag-imagine. Sabihin ko lang to, old car. Imagine mo is yung kotse ko na 2012 Honda, 2014 pala yung kotse ko, Honda 2014. Ilagay ko, nakalagay for sale. Ha? Ang, ang, ang benta ko is uh, 250,000. Yung pinost ko for sale, 250,000. Ngayon, si Judy Ann pumunta sa akin. Tumawad. Siyempre. Uh, bentahan to. No? So, si Judy Ann offers to buy at 230,000. O, sige. Ako yung may-ari. Ine-evaluate ko to. Tingin mo ba yung offer ni Judy Ann to purchase or to buy my old car at 230,000, talo pa ba ako dito? So remember, the book value of the old car is only at 100,000. Pero binibili ni Judy Ann ng 230,000. So in this case pa lang, meron na akong gain of how much? Gain of 200. Of 130,000. So kung meron akong gain, anong net effect niyan sa total taxable income? So meron akong gain, so ibig sabihin, tataas yung taxable income ko. In return, magbabayad ako ng additional tax. Okay? So, therefore, in this illustration, yung tax, sabihin natin na at 30%, no? So, yung additional tax of 39,000 pesos will form part of your savings or cash inflows, no? If it's a gain, should be deducted, no? Less applicable tax in case there is a gain on sale or add tax savings in case there is loss on sale. Kasi plus, kung ang case naman nito, balikan natin. Kung ang case naman nito is for sale, pero meron isa, si Romer naman nag-offer at 90,000. No? Kailangan ko na ng pera, parang gano'n na ako kadesperado. So, ang nangyari, wala na si Judy Ann, ha? Ang example natin, si Romer at 90,000. So, in that case, magkaroon na ako ngayon ng loss. No? So, book value is 100,000. Meron akong loss of 10,000. So, in that case, it it serves as a reduction to my taxable income. So, therefore, yung tax dyan should be added, no, as tax savings. Nakasave ako sa tax dahil dun sa loss incurred in selling the old car. So hopefully clear 'yan. But later on mas yung focus pa natin will capture all these say criteria as we go through the problem. So finally, avoidable costs. Avoidable costs, 'di ba? Naalala niyo doon sa, you can recall during our discussion on relevant costing, no? So all avoidable costs are relevant to the calculation, especially if it's different, no, from one alternative to another, no? So avoidable cost of immediate repairs on old assets to be replaced net of tax pa rin. Okay? Sige. So hopefully clear na 'yan. Pero para lang ma-test natin yung criteria, let's go to a discussion problem. No? So Zaluki Company is planning to purchase a new equipment costing 800,000 pesos. Okay? Freight and installation cost is 30,000. Additional gross working capital of 50,000 will be needed to support operations planned with the new equipment. O class, napaka-comprehensive ng problem. Pero binigay na lahat, no? So, sabi natin, balikan ulit natin yung net investment. Sabi, cost or cash outflows less cash inflows or savings. So, ano muna yung mga cash outflows or costs? Initial cash outlay provided. Incidental project related costs. So, yung freight, working capital, so provided, no? So, sige, tuloy pa natin. The new equipment will be purchased to replace an old unit that was acquired several years ago at a cost of 300,000 pesos, for which an accumulated depreciation of 240,000 pesos has been recorded. This old unit will be sold for 70,000. Other assets that are to be retired as a result of the acquisition of the new machine can be salvaged. Class, narinig mo lang yung salvage, hindi ito yung nakikita mo sa TV, ha? So, ibig sabihin, ito yung mapagbebentahan and sold for 60,000, no? The loss on the retirement of these other assets is 7,000, which will result into tax savings of 2,100. Sige, isa-isa natin yan later. If the new equipment is not purchased, extensive repairs on the old equipment will have to be made an, an, at an estimated cost of 40,000. These repairs can be avoided by the purchasing equipment, by purchasing the equipment. So, requirement number 1, compute the amount of net investment for decision-making purposes. Sige, isa-isayin natin to, class. Actually, meron na akong ginawa dito. No? So, pero isa-isayin natin kung paano yung treatment. Una, syempre, nilatag ko muna ano yung mga relevant, no? Una, we have your cost of new equipment. Tandaan, ang question number 1 is, compute the amount of net investment for decision-making purposes, no? Net investment natin, cost or cash outflows less cash inflows or savings incidental to the acquisition of the investment project. So, isa-isay natin, balik ako sa problem. Sorry. Okay. So, you have your new equipment, 800,000. Freight and installation costs, relevant pa rin yan, class, 30,000. Additional working capital of 50,000. Okay? So, yan yung total cash outflow natin or cost of investment, no? Cost of initial investment. Ngayon, sabi dito, the new equipment will be purchased to replace an old unit that was acquired years ago, no? At a cost of 300,000, for which an accumulated depreciation of 240,000 has been recorded. So, meron kang old machine. You have the accumulated depreciation of 240. So, meron ka ngayong 60,000 na book value. Okay? This old unit will be sold for 70,000. So, ibig sabihin, meron ka dyang, pwede mo mabenta yung lumang machine mo for 70,000. No? So, that 70,000, dahil yan yung mapagbebentahan, will be cash inflow, no? Pero ngayon, tandaan natin, dahil technically meron kang gain on sale. O class, paano na-compute yung gain on sale? Di ba ang book value natin is 60,000 na lang? Pero nabenta mo ng 70,000. So, meron kang gain na 10,000. Kailangan natin ngayon i-calculate magkano yung naging tax effect nun, no? O, bago natin i-calculate yan, balikan muna natin yung ibang data. Kasi walang nabigay na tax rate, no? So, kinabahan ka na. The other assets that are to be retired as a result of acquisition of new machine can be salvaged and sold for 60,000. So, apart from the old machine, meron ba daw ibang machines na pwede nating maibenta or mare-retire na dahil dun sa pag-purchase ng new machine. So, book value of the other assets is 67,000. Retirement and can be sold for 60,000, no? So, 60,000 yung napagbentahan, selling price. Ano nga yung book value? Provided. Ah, or hindi pala provided. Pero 60,000 yung napagbentahan. Loss on retirement is 7,000. So, meron kang loss. So, pwede mo i-derive ngayon magkano yung book value mo. So, 67,000 ang book value mo, naibenta mo lang ng 60,000, meron pa nga yung loss on retirement. No? So, loss na pagbentahan mo, gaya ng example natin kanina. No? Ngayon, meron kang tax nakalagay dito, which will result into tax savings of 2,100. So, yun class, meron ka daw tax savings na 2,100. Therefore, dinerive ko lang. Formula is the tax rate is 30%. So, that's 2,100 divided by 7,000. So, alam mo na ngayon kung magkano yung tax rate. So, that's 30%. O class hindi pa, nagkataon lang na mula nung simula 30% palagi yung tax rate, no? Pero, ah, hindi palagi yan yung instance, no? It has to be provided. Kung hindi man provided, there should be a way for you to calculate for the tax rate, no? So, in this case, provided yung loss and yung tax savings, so na-calculate natin yung 30%. Sige, dandahanin ulit natin, baka merong hindi nakasunod. Dito kasi merong two parts, no? Basahin natin ito ulit ng dahan. Ito yung part na sinabi, other assets that are to be retired as a result of the acquisition of the new machine can be salvaged and sold for 60,000. So, ito yung pinaka-selling price, no? By selling it, sinabi dito, loss on retirement of these other assets is 7,000. So, ito yung selling price. Meron daw loss. So, pwede natin ma-derive kung magkano yung book value. So, in this case, kung meron kang 7,000 na loss, therefore, your book value is 67,000. 67,000 na book value less selling price of 60,000. So, meron kang ngayong loss of 7,000. Okay? So, kaya sinabi tax savings. Ito ulit class, babalikan ko yung example natin kanina. Ano ba yung sa financial accounting nyo? So, yung normal na income statement. 'Di ba kung meron kang loss, technically it's decreasing your taxable income and therefore decreasing your tax expense, no? So, dahil meron kang loss, essentially, bumababa yung tax na binabayaran mo. Okay? Okay. So, tandaan ulit natin, the formula to calculate your net investment is your total cash outflow less cash inflow and tax savings, no? O sige, ngayon isa-isahin na natin. Isa-isahin na natin yung other portion, no? Ito yung isa pang part. Highlight ko lang ulit, ibang color naman. Yung kita. Ayan. The new equipment will be purchased to replace the old unit. The old unit was acquired at 300,000, yun yung book value, less accumulated depreciation of 240. Magkano daw ang pagbebentahan? 70,000. So, yung mapagbebentahan, that's your cash inflow. Kasi makakatanggap ka ng pera, di ba? From selling the old machine. So, that's minus 7,000. Oh, pero, dahil nga meron kang gain, meron tayong na-calculate na tax. Bakit ina-add yung tax? So, remember, dahil meron kang gains on sale, essentially, tumadagdag yan dun sa taxable income mo which result to higher tax expense. So kaya dumadagdag siya, kaya meron kang additional na binabayad na tax, no? So dahil gain siya, kailangan mo i-add dito yung tax implication. So that's 3,000. So hopefully class, inulit-ulit ko na yun, no? So hopefully this time clear na kung bakit ganun yung implication ng tax, no? Kung hindi, ah, siguro chat nyo ako. Pwede kong explain to one more time. No? Pero ito pa yung one more time. No? So other portion naman, other than the old machine, meron pa daw other assets, no? So book value is 67, napag-usapan natin paano calculate yan. Pero in this case, meron naman tayong loss, no? So essentially, the tax loss will decrease your taxable income and decrease your tax expense. So in that case, minus 2,100. Ito naman, walang question to eh. Ito yung pinaka-selling price. So, minus, no? Dahil cash inflow mo yan. Ito, this is what we call this tax savings, no? This is cash, ito yung ibabayad mo na tax, no? So, uh, cash outflow din to. Pero in this case, this is tax savings, no? And then finally, we have your avoidable cost, no? So if the new equipment is not purchased, the extensive repairs on the old equipment will have to be made at an estimated cost of 40,000. This repair expense can be avoided, no? Pero tandaan, ang sabi dito, avoidable cost of immediate repairs on old asset to be replaced net of tax. So, kailangan net of tax pa rin. So, balik tayo dun sa example. So, that's 40,000 multiplied by 70%. So, that's deducted, no? Dun sa initial investment mo to arrive to your net investment. So, the answer is 722,900 pesos. So, minus yung salvage value, inad yung tax implication ng gains on sale, minus ulit yung selling price ng other assets. This time, dahil may loss ka, minus the tax savings, and then finally on the avoidable cost net of tax, no? So total is 722,900. So nandoon din naman yan sa table natin. Okay? Okay, so sana clear yan. Like I said, kung hindi, it's either send me a note in Canvas or through Viber, no? Through Judian. So requirement number 2, assume that instead of selling the old unit to be replaced, the same is traded in for 80,000. Compute the amount of net investment. So ito pa rin. Copyin ko lang dito. Pero this time, wala daw to. So, hindi natin siya ibebenta. Instead, merong trade-in. Okay? So, ito yung kanina, no? Yung example ko kanina, yung Honda ko, gusto ko i-trade in ng Fortuner. No? Okay. So, in this case, wala to. Alisin ko to kasi hindi daw bebenta. Diba? Pero, iti-trade in. How much is the trade-in value? 80,000. This is trade-in. Okay. Pansinin niyo ito, class. Sa trade-in value, hindi natin kinalculate yung tax implication. So, whether there is gain or loss, walang tax implication. Why? Ito mas mapo-point out to during your, I mean, in your taxation classes, but in a trade-in value, you don't recognize gains or losses kasi trade-in lang to, no? Exchange of goods or services, no? So in this case, we're not going to calculate for the tax implication, and therefore, your total net investment is 709,900. Hindi ko na ulitin paano to kasi na-discuss na natin earlier. Ang nabago lang naman sa requirement number 2 is about uh, the old machine, no? Initially, the old machine was sold at 70,000, pero this time trade in, no? So there's a trade in for 80,000. So the answer is 709,900. So the trade-in value of all unit has no tax effect. Okay? Okay. So hopefully, pero kung napansin nyo, yung problem natin, it all discuss all these criteria. No? So it's a comprehensive problem, but it caters all the criteria as shown in this slide. Okay. So let's now move on to returns. Ito na. So earlier I mentioned about three elements, no? So you have your cost of capital, your net investment, and returns. So dito na tayo sa third element, returns. Okay. So Master Donut, diretso na tayo sa problem, no? Master Donut plans to buy a donut making machine that will be installed in its new sales outlet. The machine will cost 240,000 pesos, including freight and installation cost of 10,000. O, wag kang magpapalito. It is expected to have a service life of 4 years with no salvage value. Sales of donuts are estimated at 5,000 units per month at a price of 15 pesos per unit. Variable costs are estimated at 8 pesos per unit, while incremental fixed costs, excluding depreciation at 20,000 pesos. So meaning class, itong incremental fixed costs, these are cash fixed costs, no? Excluding depreciation of 20,000. The company's income tax rate is 30%, no? So determine the expected increase in monthly net income of Master Donut if the machine is acquired and used in the new sales outlet. O sige, returns, no? Ang pinag-uusapan natin dito is your net income, no? Okay, isa-isayin natin. So, nandito na yung formula, pero mas maganda kasi balik tayo sa problem, tapos isa-isayin natin yung calculation. Okay? So sabi, syempre, when we're being asked how much is the monthly net income, we're talking about returns, no? Net income. So kailangan natin gumawa ng pro forma income statement. So you have your sales 5,000. Tayo sa problem. 5,000 units at a price of 15 per unit. So, okay ka dyan. Variable costs, sabi dito, variable costs are estimated at 8 pesos per unit. So, dun ka ulit sa 5,000. So, 5,000 multiplied by 8. You have your contribution margin of 35,000. Now, tingnan ulit natin yung problem. Ang hinahanap is monthly net income. Okay? Now, let's go to your fixed costs. So, ang fixed cost mo, kanina, ulitin ko lang ulit, incremental, no? Incremental fixed cost is 20. Ngayon, pag sinabi kasing incremental, ito yung mga, di ba, increase, no? So, ibig sabihin, ito yung mga cash fixed cost mo, meaning relevant to dun sa calculation. So, calculate pa rin natin. So, you have 20,000. Ngayon, ito yung you'll have your fixed cost of 20,000, and then you have to calculate for your depreciation. Kasi tandaan, ang tinatanong ko lang dito, monthly net income, no? So, pag net income ang tinatanong, whether cash fixed cost or not, included sa calculation, no? So, in this case, we have to compute for the depreciation. Paano yan? Balikan natin yung problem. 240,000, including freight and installation costs. And then, pinrovide din yung service life, no? So, in this case, kunin na lang din natin yung service life as the life of the machine. So, 4. So, you have 240. So, ito yan. 240,000. Ilang years? 4 years. So, that's 240,000 divided by 4. Huwag ka ngayon papadito kasi this is your annual depreciation. Tinatanong sa atin dito ay monthly net income. So in that case, we have to divide it by 12 to arrive with your monthly depreciation. Okay. So therefore, you have your fixed costs of 20,000 given naman yan plus there. And then depreciation of 5,000. So you have your operating income of 10,000. Ngayon, magkano yung tax? Sabi, tax rate is 30%. So therefore, your total income after tax is 7,000. Okay? So yun lang. Pinakompute lang naman sa yung net income. At I mean, it should be easy, no, to compute for your net income. Okay? Now, let's determine the monthly net cash inflows. O, ito naman plus, monthly net cash inflows that will be generated by the new machine. Actually, um, there are two approach to calculate for the net cash inflow. Isa, itong shortcut version. So, all you need to do is get your net income, depreciation, plus hindi ka naman nagbabayad niyan, no? So, walang inflow of cash, no? When it comes to depreciation. Kasi kung nagbabayad ka pa rin ng depreciation, napakagalante mo naman, di ba? So, in this case, so you have your net income of 7,000. And of course, you just have to add back your depreciation, and that's your monthly net cash inflows, the 12,000. Ngayon, class, that's a shortcut, no? Yan, okay yan. Lalo na kung initially the problem asks you to calculate for the to calculate for the net income. So that's the easiest way to calculate for your net cash inflow. Now, what if it's not provided, no? So the other approach is to calculate for the net cash inflows after tax, but before depreciation. So paano yan? So all you have to do is get the 10,500. So paano natin na-compute yan? So kunin mo lang muna yung net cash inflow after tax but before depreciation. So kaya ako siya minultiply ng 70%. So ito kasi, kung napansin nyo, ito yung net income natin pero hindi pa natin dito So you have your sales, your variable cost, syempre may contribution margin ka. Ito, pinag-uusapan natin kanina, di ba? These are fixed costs pero cash related. No? Incremental fixed costs, di ba? Binanggit dito incremental because uh, uh, it is relevant to the calculation since this will only increase upon getting the new machine, no? So that's why incremental fixed cost. So kaya kinuha natin siya sa calculation natin. Ngayon, in order to get the cash inflows, all we need to do is get this amount and then kunin natin yung after-tax effect na. So that's 10,500. Long method will be 30%, di ba? Tax is 30%. So 15,000 multiplied by 30%, so that's 4,500. 15,000 less 4,500, so that's 10,500, no? So kung saan ka mas comfortable, dun ka. So in my case, minultiply ko siya by 70% to get the after tax before depreciation, ha? So So that's 10,500. Ngayon, tax savings due to depreciation. So, kasi nga, imagine na, in normal, in your account, basic accounting, yung depreciation, parang it serves as tax shield, no? Wala ka naman talagang cash outlay sa depreciation. Hindi ka nagbabayad ng depreciation, no? Pero nire-recognize mo siya as expense. So, essentially, depreciation expense decrease your taxable income and decrease your tax expense. So in that case, kailangan mong i-calculate ngayon yung tax savings due to depreciation. Magkano yun? 5,000, di ba yung depreciation natin? Multiply by 30%, so that's 1,500. So, kung napansin nyo, same lang yung nakuha nating result. No? So, 12,000. So, either way, pwede nyo ma-compute yung returns. Okay? So, hopefully, na-gets yan. So, I'll give you 5 minutes break siguro. I'll give myself 5 minutes break. And then, we'll proceed with the evaluation techniques. So far natapos na natin yung discussion on cost of capital, net investment, and returns, no? So we'll now proceed with the different evaluation techniques, no? So previously, I've also will discuss with you that there are different ways to evaluate a project, no? Merong isa sa inyo nagtanong, bakit ba kailangan mamili? So, because we're dealing with huge projects, hindi pwedeng pag nagkamali is pasensya na tao lang, no? So, hindi ganun sa situation na to because we're doing some capital budgeting, meaning we're investing on huge projects, no? In this cases, new machineries, no? It costs thousands of pesos, no? It will definitely have an impact to the company as a whole. Kaya, especially if the company doesn't have full resources, no? Ibig sabihin, uh, may be limited funds, no? Kaya kailangan niya evaluate ano ba yung project na dapat niyang puntahan, no? So, let's discuss this different evaluation technique one by one. So in this case, let's do payback period, no? So, payback period, ito yung payback. So, ibig sabihin, nag-invest ka, kailan mo gustong mabawi yung ininvest mo. So, also last meeting, I mentioned about Tokmok, no? So, I'm not sure kung ako nga lang ba yung nakaka-receive sa Facebook or Instagram, may mga ads sila, no? So, invest in Toktok, no? And then, Pag na-click mo yun, sasabihin na in a matter of 3 months, bawi mo na yung 16,000 pesos na in-invest mo. So, patunayan natin dito ngayon. No? So, let's discuss about payback period. So, the formula is investment over net cash inflows. No? So, France Creations, I'm just reading the problem. It's already provided to you. France Creations is considering an investment in a computer that is capable of producing various images that are useful in the production of commercial art. The computer would cost 200,000 pesos and have an expected life of 8 years. The computer is expected to generate additional annual net cash receipts before tax of 60,000 per year. The computer will be depreciated according to the straight line method and the firm's income tax rate is 30%. So, required payback period. Una, syempre, provided naman how much is the investment. No? The investment is 200,000. So, that's the computer cost. No? Ngayon, compute natin magkano yung net cash inflows. Net cash inflows after tax but before depreciation is 42,000. Paano na-compute yung class? 60,000 multiplied by 70%. Kailangan kasi natin is after tax. So, inaalis natin yung tax related. So, that's 42,000. Okay? Tax savings due to depreciation. Paano natin compute? 200,000 divided by 8 years multiply by 30%. Ina-add mo yan, no? Kasi yan yung pinaka-tax savings mo. Ulitin ko yung discussion natin kanina. Depreciation, wala naman talaga siyang cash outflow, no? Kasi hindi ka naman talaga nagbabayad ng depreciation. But in reality, that depreciation expense, doon sa income statement mo, dinededuct mo siya sa taxable income. So, it actually reduce your taxable income and in effect, reduce your tax expense. No? Kaya meron kang tax savings. Yan yung pinakatanang, ano ba sa Tagalog? Tax shield or panangga mo, no? From paying more taxes. No? So, in that case, kailangan natin yang ibalik doon sa cash inflow. So, total net cash inflows is 49,500. So, 200,000 divided by 49,500, your net cash inflows. So, you'll get 4.04 years. No? Okay, class. Evaluation technique to, di ba? So, therefore, this will technically to evaluate the project kung okay ba o hindi, no? Reject or proceed with the purchase of computer. Ngayon, ang rule of thumb for payback period is it should be, well, the shorter, the better. Mas maiksing panahon mo mababawi yung investment mo, the better. In other cases, it could be at least half of the useful life, no? So in this case, 8 years, at least 4 years, no? Pero in this example, naging 4.04. So kung tatanungin ka ng problem, the answer is, should we proceed with the project or not? The answer is reject. Kasi ang rule of thumb is half of the expected life, which is 4 years na. And naging, sir, ba't 0.4 na lang? Ba't hindi pa pinagbigyan? E paano kung 0.3, 0.5, 0.6? No? So that's just to aid you in evaluating a project. No? So that's payback period. So hopefully that's clear enough. But let's also do the same problem, but this time let's calculate for the accounting rate of return. Accounting rate of return based on original investment and average investment. So class, ito pag pag binibigyan ka ng problem on accounting rate of return and the problem is silent as to what to use, you should always use original investment, no? Ulitin ko if the problem is silent, which to use between, in calculating for the accounting rate of return, use original investment. But in this case, let's compute for uh, both scenario, no? So original investment and average investment. So the formula to get your accounting rate of return is accounting net income over original or initial investment, no? So class, paano ba natin makompute muna yung accounting net income? It's either i-provide mo ulit yung buong statement mo, but in this case, ang provided lang sa atin is yung net cash inflow, na-compute na natin kanina, 49,500, less depreciation, no, of 25,000. That's 200,000 divided by 8 years. So you have your net income of 24,500 over initial investment of 200,000. So your accounting rate of return is 12.25%. Okay? Now let's go to requirement 2B, average investment. So again, accounting net income over average investment. So paano yung pag-compute ng average investment? Average investment is equals to initial investment, that's 200,000, plus salvage value. But in this case, there's no salvage value over 2. So kasi nga average. Ano? So in that case, 200,000 plus 0, salvage value over 2. So that's 100,000. So derive lang natin yung formula. That's 24,500 over 100,000. So that's 24.5%. Okay? So that's accounting rate of return. So ito yung rate of return, no? Ibig sabihin, ito yung gusto mong ma-receive out of your investment, no? So for example, if I invest in Toktok, magkano ba yung rate of return na gusto ko matanggap? Doon mo ngayon i-compare ito in order for you to decide whether to proceed or reject the project. So in this case, hindi kasi given yung, syempre, dahil ikaw na compare mo to dun sa desired rate of return, yung gusto mo, di ba? Yung gusto mo na return, kung doon mo siya i-compare, no? But in this problem, in this case, hindi kasi provided yung desired rate of return. So, hindi tayo makapag-decide ngayon whether to proceed or not in this project. So, therefore, pasahin mo yung requirement number 3. If the firm's cost of capital in this case, class, no? This is similar with desired rate of return. Is the project acceptable? Okay. So class, 15%. Tandaan, pag problem is silent, we're going to use original investment. No? So we're going to evaluate accounting rate of return based on original investment, that's 12.25% versus cost of capital of 15% or desired rate of return of 15%. So therefore, the answer is reject the project kasi it's lower than the cost of capital or lower than your desired rate of return. Okay? So I'm hoping that's clear enough. But let's do another example on payback period. No? But this time, there's an uneven cash flows. Kasi hindi naman, not all the time, makaka-receive ka ng, so select sa Tok na lang. Hindi naman palagi may delivery ka. So it could be month 1, malaki yung delivery mo. Month 2, mas dumi. And month 3, mas tumaas pa. So in that case, let's consider this example. No? Itong pakibasa ng maayos ha. Incorporated, a cologne producer, is considering to purchase a special purpose bottling machine for 400,000. It is expected to have a useful life of 5 years with a zero terminal disposal price. So meaning salvage value is zero. The plant manager estimates that the machine will generate income after tax. O class, hindi ka na pinirapan. Binigay na sa'yo yung net income. Net income in year 1, 170, 40, 20, 10. So that's 240. Incorporated is using a required rate of return of 12% in its capital budgeting decision. It pays income tax at the rate of 30% of income before income tax. Okay, let's calculate. So, kailangan natin, di ba, what's the formula again to calculate for your payback period? It's investment over net cash inflows. No? And in order for you to get the net cash inflows, all you have to do is get your income and then add back your depreciation. Kasi cash inflows. No? So, ang assumption natin in this problem is that depreciation is the only non-cash expense that we have in the income statement. No? So, in that case, net cash inflows, year 1 is 180. Year 2, 70 plus 80, that's 150. Kaya na mag-calculate no? 120, 119, so respectively for years 3, 4, and 5. No? Running total 180 plus 150. So that's year 1. Pagdating ng year 2, magkano na yung total? 180 plus 150, 330. Pero tandaan, ang gusto mong mabawi is 400,000, no? So, by year 3, 120 yung net cash inflow mo, pero ang kailangan mo lang mabawi is 70,000. So, kailangan natin kunin yung ratio. 70 over 120 para makuha mo ilang year pa. So therefore, your payback period is 2 years plus yun nga in 70 over 120 or 2.58 years or 2 years and about 7 months. Sige, para hindi magkalituhan. Check natin kung ito later to sa isa pang example. Para hindi malito, pakita ko lang kung paano kinumpute to. No? So, you have your net income, tapos depreciation. Itong depreciation, sabi 400,000, it is expected to have a useful life of 5 years. So, provided naman pala. So, 1, 2, so 400 divided by 5 years. So, you have your net income, tapos ito yung net cash inflows. Net income daw, plus, alisin ko na yung mga zero, 100, 70, 40, 20. Ano yung net cash inflow mo? So, 100 plus 80. Magkano yung initial investment mo? 400,000 pesos. 400. Year 1, bigay kong 400 dyan. Year 1, meron kang 180. Ang tanong na, bawik na ba? Di pa, kailangan ko pa ng 220. Year 2, mas mabilis. Hindi pa rin. So, meron ka ng year 1, dapat year 2. Pagdating ng year 3, ang kailangan ko lang 70. Pero ang net cash inflow ko 120. So, therefore, kailangan ko kunin yung ratio. 70 over 120. So, that's 0.58. No? So, that's your total payback period. So, ibig sabihin, order for me to recover the 400,000 initial investment, it will take 2.58 years, no? So yun kung napansin niyo, gano'n yung pag-calculate 'pag uneven yung cash flows, 'no? Kasi normally hindi naman palaging 180,000 yan, like in my given example earlier in Tok, no? It's, it depends on the number of deliveries, no? So yun, hopefully, that's clear enough because, we're now moving on to bailout, payback bailout period. Atong payback period, hayaan ko na kayong mag-compute niyan. Nakadalawang example na tayo how to calculate for your payback period. Remember, the formula is initial investment over your net cash inflow. But in this case, let's discuss payback bailout period. So, payback bailout period, ang kino-consider naman dito is yung salvage value. So, paano yan? Let's illustrate. So sabi ko, hindi ko nakaka-calculate ng payback period, kayo na yan. But what I'm going to illustrate is on the bailout period. No? Okay? So, okay. So you have your net cash inflow, 140, 120, 90, 80. So year 1, sige ako lang, parang hindi nakakalito. Year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Then you have your salvage value of 40, 30, 20, 20, 10. Magkano ulit yung initial investment natin? Di ko binasa. A company purchased a new machine on January 1 of this year for 350,000 with an estimated useful life of 5 years and the salvage value of 10,000. The machine will be depreciated using straight line. The expected after-tax cash inflow and estimated salvage values for each year during the life of the project are as follows. O, so ito class, hindi ka na mahirapan. Pinrovide na sa atin yung net cash inflows, no? Okay. So, remember, meron ka 350,000 pesos na initial investment, no? So, year 1, meron kang 140. Tandaan, ang kailangan natin mabawi is 350. Year 2, meron ka lang 260. Magkano lang yung kulang natin to get the 350? So, 350 less 260 ka na. So, meron ka na lang 90. Yun, kaya nilagay ko to recover. So, magkano pa yung kailangan natin ma-recover? 90 na lang. Pero ang cash inflow mo is 100. Notice that, ha? Ngayon, class, in this case, we have to incorporate the salvage value. So, 90 minus 20, 90, ito lang yung amount to recover mo, less the salvage value of 20 over 100, yung net cash inflow mo. So, in that case, you'll arrive with 0.7. So, your payback bailout period is 0.7 years. So, wag malilito, this is payback bailout period. Ibig sabihin, we'll have to consider the salvage value. Pero hindi natin siya fraction, ha, class? Kasi salvage value, this is the amount, the amount wherein you can sell the machine, no? So at year 3. So that's 90 yung amount to be recovered pa less 20 the salvage value over 100 your net cash inflow. So to arrive with 0.7. So total bailout period is 2.7 years. Okay?
This has been your instructor, Mark Gibson. Thank you for learning with us. See you in our next discussion. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See ya!